Hello, welcome. This is the Daily Dharma, and my name is Deana with Impressive Warrior. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This is a timeless collective reading, and I'm just getting back into YouTube. I made a little bit of a false start back about 5 years ago for those that are just joining us now. And then I did quite a little time on Facebook if you want to check out the Facebook account for some of those videos. I think I was on there nearly a year before taking just another short sabbatical to get myself moved into this new location that still needs lots of cleaning and painting. And now we have the Daily Dharma tapping into the collective where everyone is at, trying to figure out what vibrational upgrades and healing light we can introduce into our lives and those issues and environments that surround us for the highest good. Tapping into our highest creativity, our highest potential, activating ourselves through healing, receiving, where are we at today? So I've shifted this up, and I like this new way of doing things, starting with the Tao Te Ching deck here. Waiting for just one to come out, hopefully. And this gives us a nice overall theme. There we go. 27 flying out here. A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving. A good artist lets his intuition lead him wherever it wants. A good scientist has freed himself of concepts and keeps his mind open to what is. Thus, the master is available to all people and doesn't reject anyone. He is ready to use all situations and doesn't waste anything. This is called embodying the light. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? If you don't understand this, you'll get lost. However intelligent you are, it is the great secret. And we had this recently, something like this, the great secret, the secret of life, or something like that came through with keeping it simple and living well. So more to that story. 9 is under the deck. Fill your bowl to the brim and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife and it will blunt. Chase after money and security and your heart will never unclench. Care about people's approval, and you will be their prisoner. Do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity. Beautiful. So I believe this great secret here is reminding us, and this message is ongoing, talking about the reintegration and cleansing and rebalancing of the inner polarity, the inner dichotomy, that push and pull essence, the masculine, feminine, the yin yang, and the impulse on the third dimension, that middle world plane, to effort to get things done versus working on first alignment and embodiment. So we talked a lot about alignment as far as negotiating your preferences, honoring your desires and your emotional fluctuations versus the reality behind the perceptions. We've talked a lot about many different things. It was plucked right out of my mind. Let's keep moving. Emergence, that one came out several times during the pre-shuffle, and we have realization here. So the emerging realization, something is coming to our attention. The efforting versus, embodiment. That's where we were at. How did I forget that? Embodiment and alignment. So alignment is choosing for the preference, and things that feel good don't feel good. That shows us when we're in our truth and when we're not. If there's tension versus expansion happening in your body and in your nerve systems, your nervous system and your fight or flight gut instincts being lit up, turning your stomach, or butterflies in the stomach, those anxiety feelings, versus embodiment is being in the body, in the flow, in the present tense, honoring the body and its needs. If you're hungry, eating. Fasting may have its place in certain practices, but unintentional fasting for other reasons can sometimes border on lack of self-nourishment. I'm not even talking about people that are anorexic or any of that. I'm not talking about that necessarily, but if that is for you, take that. But it's like, for instance, just like lack of self, honoring your flow, honoring your body's honest needs. Under the deck now we have Universal Love 44 and the Belief card 11, two master numbers. So the belief in universal love, and I believe that that's also the belief in ourselves as a fractal of God in form. And God, if you are not somebody who's religious, please allow yourself to, as one of my friends says, he takes the word God as good orderly direction. Having some sort of faith and hope that continues to encourage you to reach forward and to hold to that idea of like the not perfection, but the belief in the human dimension and healing in that way. Holding those thoughts keeps us inspired, keeps us uplifted. So the embodiment, it's like energy in motion. So allowing things to, curiosities and stimulus to arise and move through our bodies in different ways to heal our ideas about very important matters such as romantic love or love in general, and separating out how we can love someone but not like them, and then like another person but not really love them for their, I don't know, choices or something else, right? There's this acceptance, tolerance, unconditional, universal flow, and instead of making further stories about it, getting into just, I want to say getting into, but then I saw this image of, stepping back from seeing every little blade of grass that may be out of place in your yard, and then stepping back and seeing the expanse of the yard as a beautiful green carpet. It's like the blades of grass may be each different, right? But then when you step back, there's peace and synergy between the parts of the whole. I guess that's where we're getting at. Thank you. So it seems to be like filling your bowl to the brim may be like overindulgence, over materialism, and sharpening the knife is like always expecting the worst and preparing for the worst, and then eventually becoming kind of jaded by the expectations of judgment, then we become the judge and jury for everyone that crosses the path. So chasing after that third dimensional narrative that we have erroneously, it's taken over precedence of some part of our heart. There's tension in our field that has pushed us to be some type of a certain way, seeking for approval. And it's time for us to liberate ourselves from our own self-imposed moment, I guess. We have that self-limiting beliefs coming up the last few days too in the readings. Okay. I'm going to take the one that flipped here. Well, one flipped and then it flipped over with the others. Change under that stack, and miracle and dynamic under the deck in my hand. So coherence first flipped like this way, and then the whole thing flipped this way, and so I'm taking these two. Coherence and authority. Actually, I'll put them up just one more time. So the understanding of sacred law is what I'm thinking in the moment. So I was thinking also this morning about the law of correspondence, and in the moment it was making sense, and now I can't remember the line of thought that had taken me in that direction, but coherence is understanding of a higher authority than that of this third dimensional negotiating and third dimensional efforting. This higher authority is talking about when we're aware of our resonance and working diligently in a good orderly direction for our highest good and that of everyone else, because our highest good as a fractal of universal love is the highest good of all. If we're lucid enough, understanding of universal laws in such a way where we're honoring that highest energy use. There's this understanding of sacred law. So what was correspondence? I believe it's the completion aspect, so that something translates into something else. Like there's a law of vibration. There's, what is it? The 13 sacred keys diagram is one that's coming to mind, with love as the center of the wheel, and then 12 spokes or ends all around it, and each one corresponds to something else. So there's the law of rhythm, the law of vibration, the law of correspondence. It's talking about the ebb and flow of energy. And when we're in divine sacred flow, we're not inducing or inciting any additional karma. We're actually, I mean, not consciously at least, and when we do, we understand the choice and its consequence. So dynamic under the deck here. Yeah, understanding the dynamics that come through the use of our spiritual authority and the use of our energy. Passion. I am not sure if there's some kind of animal in my roof knocking on my chamber door, but I'm sorry to be distracted. This is like farm life 101 for me right here, right now. All right, so passion 34. 36, prosperity. I like that. And there's the belief card again. All right, we'll take those 5 cards and leave the dynamic at the bottom. Dynamic, remembrance, throat chakra, and communication. Sacral chakra, divine feminine tantric journey. Gaia, realization, and transition. So, just the bottom of the deck here, I'm just looking at this real quick, and it seems like there is definitely an ongoing activation process going on where we're integrating the past, whether that is the Akashic remembrance or the remembrance of everything that you've gone through in this embodiment. There's a dynamic interplay of thought, feeling, the correspondence, right? The correspondence of perhaps things that span, if you subscribe to other lifetimes or concurrent lifetimes, or even dreamscape dynamics filtering through into your perspective. There's this accumulation of thoughts, feelings, wisdoms that are being communicated through you out into the world. And I'm seeing this as like the signal that you are broadcasting as a dynamic, interesting person in this world, and coming into less judgment about proclaiming your value. And this is creating a tantric alchemical event within your energy signature here, placing you into the realization of how you can flow with your divine life path, in believing in the potential success and prosperity and abundance that lies in following that passion, following something down the rabbit hole. So, not everybody here may be working on some huge life mission, but if your life mission is simply just to be love, then that is living in passion. And because I also equate passion with the, isn't there something in Christianity where it's like, isn't the Station of the Cross where, isn't that called the Passion? But yeah, there's something about the spiritual alchemy, the dynamic passion for the human dimension. It's like the spirit, it's the Holy Spirit in form. Yeah, channeling that unique energy through your vessel here, and believing in the power of that passion to unlock your whatever this prosperity is. There's something, whether it's a life event or a way of being here. Spiral and the Wild Woman on the next split. The Wild Woman is living in her passion and letting that Holy Spirit just spiral down and around her energy, and it's like cleansing, clearing the old debris, and just divine sacred movement, possibly. I don't know if you do a little bit of movement exercise, but there's something here about letting yourself stretch and embody that spiritual light in a more dynamic, fiery way. I don't know if you're getting fired up about something, a new opportunity, a new partnership, but there's something that is lighting this fire for you. Light, come on baby, light my fire. Look at those two cozy little guys nesting. Benefactor, grace, and generosity. So yeah, generosity with prosperity here. For some, you'll have to sort this out for where you're at in your own journey, but there's this understanding of how do I want to say this, that it's some type of a partnership. And on the other side of that split, we had Moon Maiden, new beginnings. So I was really thinking about that one too. It's like coming up for air. And let me keep going. getting all the cards out can really help with the message. And I think that sometimes I don't need to struggle. I just need to get the cards out on the table. And maybe that's the message as well, is sometimes you just can't jump to conclusions. You have to just let the cards come and show what they may. Drifter, experiencing life as it comes. Is that what I was just saying? And the corn, 14 and 10. So this corn card is an odd one for me. I very rarely get it. But it sort of talks about the clutter and chaos of the path ahead, being in maybe like a corn maze, and I like a child that suddenly finds themselves lost in a huge crowd at a large department store, and all they can see are shelves and legs and clutter in front of them. They can't see over the racks to see their person that they're with, and finding themselves deep in a scary situation maybe. And when that child is in that moment, or the inner child, it's almost like turning around and seeing things in a backwards way. I saw 2112 when I was saying that. Like seeing the little, everything as, what do I want to say, like the little, our fears taking form. That's what I want to say. When there's this moment here of feeling suddenly lost in a moment, the impulse is to try to either get out of the situation or fix or stare or dissect a situation, when we're told to just let the mystery evolve and let ourselves experience the life behind that. Sky Dancer, surrender. Did I say surrender, or did I actually avoid it? So Sky Dancer, surrender. With this coherence, authority, passion, prosperity, belief, and dynamic. There's some type of a belief in the Wild Woman too, where we've had perhaps our authority on lockdown, and now there's a mixing or mingling of authority. Like when you come into a partnership with someone who you're going to build something with, each person delegates and has a role within the business. Each person has a responsibility to themselves, to the other, to the business, to the client, whatever the product is, XYZ, right? And I'm feeling like this surrender of authority is the aspect of both individuals or all individuals being passionate, having their subjective experiences, and each coming with some level of authority on the matter, but understanding how this compromise and how to work with each other in such a way that there's prosperity looming. So it may be that you are someone who's an artist being commissioned by someone with money, because we have prosperity and benefactor that popped out. So somebody with the authority and the prosperity to invest in your passions, that believes in you, that understands the value of what you're bringing, may step in and give this dynamic new opportunity here. And it may feel like, what's in it for them? Is this a trap? Do I give up my creative license or XYZ? But I'm seeing this Sky Dancer surrender as this moment of realization and public recognition that may be forthcoming for you in some type of a way. So this could even be on the mundane level, like getting an introduction to someone. It doesn't have to be direct investment, but somebody investing in your value. The Tree of Life, beautiful. I love that card. To me, this is definitely about partnership, commingling, and it may be definitely, I can definitely see how this could be a romantic pairing or opportunity invitation, because with Tree of Life, it's two separate trees that are entangled. And we've already talked about that pre-life, dream life, and all of the foliage of the tree here are little butterflies. Do you see how that is coming through? And at the base, there's all these little butterflies as well. And we talked about butterflies in the stomach. So something exciting is coming in, an exciting opportunity for abundance. Feast of plenty, choices and their consequences. We already talked about that one. So interesting. I love the synchronization here of the cards and the messages. Thank you, Spirit. So things may be syncing up in your life as well. Feast of plenty. Yeah, it's like somebody is having an experience where some type of limitation may have been, or a restriction may have been lifted. Some type of limitation having presented itself, but through faith, our growth is like we're going to be able to see through here and over here in just a minute, but don't become lost in speculation about what evil or lower energies may be lurking. Some of you may have creepers or hater energy that you are needing to stop focusing on too. In the real world, like people that are detractors, toxic friends, family, frenemies, things like that, or just public people too. Maybe you find that you have individuals linked to you through workplace projects or through friend groups or through social media outlets that you have feelings about, and it seems like you need to take your authority and your intuitive understanding about where their allegiances lie seriously enough to see if they're putting negative influence on you, projections on you. Maybe it's time to cut certain things out of your energy field here to be able to move forward. I do want to split this one more time. So surrender over here. Illuminating moment, and this one the sorcerer wants to fall and reveal the dragon's hoard, protecting the future. Yes, I'm seeing some kind of project or relationship here that you're being told there may be some lower influences surrounding that you'll need to be curious and cautious of, to tread carefully. But I'm seeing you as this sorcerer being able to transmute those energies into beautiful, pure light. I see the sorcerer as a reminder that sort of like our vessel is similar to a diamond or a crystal, a gemstone with many facets, and all these lights, many colors of the rainbows come in, and our perspective and our totality here, good and bad and ugly, that is kind of characterizing our energy signature, processes that information and it starts to illuminate around us. So I'm seeing that you may be someone from an early age that may, oh yeah, and I'm hearing Heyoka again. That one keeps coming up. So some of my tribe here tuning into the messages must be on that pathway, but somebody who's learned a lot about how to transmute energy, how to transmute fear into faith, how to be patient with things as they unfold, to ask questions rather than assumptions, and to act for the highest good instead of to meet forces with lower energies, how to sidestep like one of those, is it jiu-jitsu, where you deflect? Judo? Anyway, one of those displacing where you use the enemy's inertia and momentum to just watch them come at you, and as this fool is running towards you, just get out of the way, and they fall on their face. And not that we want people to fall on their face, but if the alternative is to get pummeled and steamrolled, then the highest good is to transmute that energy with loving kindness to ourselves, right? Anyways, I think I'm going to try to roll this into one summary card here, if we can get a summary. The Lotus Throne. Yeah, I'm seeing the symbology of having felt lost in a sea of lower energies, and having learned through that experience how to sort this corn energy into inner nourishment. And that inner nourishment having created in yourself and perhaps in another, these two swords here coming together for some type of partnership. And it's as if all of the choices you've made have led you to a consequential, prosperous moment where you are able to unlock some passionate dynamic for your success. There's something here. I do think that prosperity is more than simply spiritual abundance. You have a lot of cards, like even corn is about the harvest. Might be spooky and creepy in the midst of it, but it's something that can be harvested. But are we going to keep all the weeds, or are we going to keep all the fruit? We have to sort the wheat from the chaff in this process. It's one of the challenges that Spirit has placed before us in having answered this call, making our choices. There's a spiritual connection coming forward, and there's a surrender to the path as it's unfolding, and we're having this urge to protect our future, the future outcome here from these lower vibrational influences. Sound the Fierce Flute came out in the pre-shuffle as well. That's making a declaration. It came out with the Gates of Heaven earlier. Today there's one up and one down. Today, during the broadcast, we're getting Sisters of the Sun Rising, which is 28. Sound the Fierce Flute is 29, which is an 11. And Ivory Swan Goddess is the 15. So Ivory Swan Goddess is a moment of healing, of release from the material urges, and to come back into the center. It's a release of the external world for a moment. And Sisters of the Sun Rising is the new dawn, rising again after having fallen down, having been hurt or experiencing some type of suffering through this corn maze with either haters or some type of distraction or smoke and mirrors, like those individuals that lead us down the wrong path, either friends or otherwise, in our past, and having had the opportunity to live a fair amount of life and to glean healing from those experiences here is creating this new sunrise of new passion. And there's a declaration here being made. Drink from the emerald fountain. Yeah, so self-healing is needed right now. All right. So I always have the urge to pull more cards, but today is the day that I always, on Fridays, do a you versus them reading. I will leave open all of these cards from the Daily Dharma, and we're going to do you versus them for all signs next. So tune into that if this message resonated with you, and otherwise check in with the next Daily Dharma or any of those titles that appeal to you and resonate with your situation the best. So take care of yourself, and we'll be back soon.